Good Friday evening to you, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Welcome to the SVG-TV news for today, February 11th. With the details, I'm Khalil Cato. The Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment is now more confident at this point that the process can resume to review new applications for the hosting of fully vaccinated events. Speaking on NBC Radio's face-to-face program this morning, Health Promotions Officer Shanika John said the suspension period of these events has given the ministry time to do an assessment on existing protocols for fully vaccinated events and also to look at the trend of what has been happening with the COVID-19 cases in the country.
We are very much confident at this particular point that we could open up for new applications for fully vaccinated event. And this is for persons who are having private activities, weddings, if you're having a private function, if you're having a big function, Easter is coming up. There's a lot of persons who are also planning and engaging their activities for carnival, etc. This is an opportunity for you to start to get your specific guidance and start to do your promotion.
Private promoters who are planning events are, however, advised not to start promoting their events before seeking guidance from the officials of the ministry and the Commissioner of Police.
To say to persons, avoid promoting your activity before you have actually considered talking to Ministry of Health representative or at least given some guidance, because if you promote your activity based on the proposal that you would have had in your mind and what you've documented on your end might not be sufficient. So it's really important for you to have that initial conversation first on what is your idea, how you propose you're going to do it. A big part of your proposal is crowd control, because it's different in different areas, Johnny. I learned so much last year. I mean, the people who go to parties in the capital versus those persons who go to parties in the rural setting, it's much different. So you can send your application the same way that we've done it before. You apply to the Commissioner of Police. You can send your application and your proposal there, or you can send it to the Chief Medical Officer as well.
Persons applying to host fully vaccinated events have to take into consideration two options as outlined in the revised protocol. Persons who attend these events are fully vaccinated or appropriately boosted.
There is that you have persons who are vaccinated but are not yet eligible for a booster shot. And we still have a significant number of persons who are unvaccinated in our population. And maybe 2022 is a year for you to consider vaccination. So at the time, you're not eligible for a booster. But Johnny, we have had those persons who have taken their vaccine from inception. And when I say inception, I mean February 14, which is when we started our soft launch and we headed into a year. So if you've taken your vaccine from February 14, 5 months ago, you're due for a booster shot. And that booster shot is going to give you adequate protection, and it's also going to make you ready in the event that you do contract the virus as well. So that's the other option. For those persons who do not want to consider their booster, we are encouraging you, well, we're saying to you that you have to take a negative antigen test 24-hour, and that is at your expense.
The Health Promotions Officer said that churches can also submit their proposals for vaccinated events and that they're also asking the church to work along with the Ministry of Health in getting members vaccinated. The Ministry of Health is expected to soon launch platforms that would give persons the opportunity to log information about any side effects from the COVID-19 vaccines and other misunderstandings they have about the vaccines. The Health Promotions Officer said that the information provided will be used for proper planning and coordination.
Like if you've just taken your vaccine and maybe you had no side effects as in terms of immediate reaction, or you've taken your vaccine and you felt a chill, a fever, which is part of the normal process, we want you to log that. Because I think a lot of persons will talk to their friends and their co-workers and, just general conversation about it. But from our end, we want you to be able to have somewhere where you can share those thoughts, and we could also use them for proper planning and coordination. So we're definitely going to be ramping up our mobile drives within the communities. So because we do recognize, Johnny, we've administered about 60,000 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. I think AstraZeneca and Pfizer are the dominant vaccines that have been administered in country at this point, are very close to each other, but we still have that significant group of persons who have not yet taken their vaccine.
John said at this time in the pandemic, people should have a wider knowledge and appreciation for the COVID-19 vaccines and encourage those who are yet to get vaccinated to do so, noting that the ministry will be ramping up mobile drives in communities island-wide.
Our vaccination sites are still active. They're still operating. We're actually, yesterday we had a discussion about trying to maintain our vaccine caravans and aiming to at least do one every other week. And that's our mobile caravans, the trailers, the trucks coming to the community. We're also going to be working with a group of persons who are going to help us at the community level to sort of mobilize persons, come around to sort of find out if you have any genuine concern about the vaccine. Maybe you would like the caravan to come to you, or maybe you would like persons to come to you to administer the vaccine as well. All of those things we're going to be put in there.
Active COVID-19 cases in SVG are down to 125 with 13 recoveries. The latest update provided by the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment indicates yesterday that 6 new PCR and 6 new rapid antigen cases have been recorded for the reporting period. 8 persons are hospitalized, 2 fully vaccinated and the other 6 unvaccinated. 101 persons in SVG have died from COVID-19. 3 were fully vaccinated, 1 partially, and 97 unvaccinated. To date, 66,569 COVID-19 vaccines have been administered. Minister of Urban Development Julian Francis has apologized to persons in North Leeward who will be affected by the Richmond Quarry project. A number of persons have expressed that the government dropped the ball by not consulting properly with the residents, especially those who will be affected directly by the project. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has already admitted that they erred, and at a news conference yesterday, Francis said he also has to take some of the blame for how the evaluation process was handled.
The ball on the valuation. Circumstances overtook us, and I'm partly to be blamed as well. Because I was asked about consultations, and I said, we will try to have consultations under the existing protocols. And I spoke to Carlos and Sabi and so on to try and go down and have consultations with persons. But there were circumstances under which. And I will conclude that we dropped the ball on the valuation, and with Mr. Reno going in with his equipment and to trace roads and to start searching to see where best to establish everything, it turned out this way, and we apologize sincerely, and there's absolutely no disrespect. In fact, we will settle farmers the way we normally do.
Francis also rubbished claims that the government was being disrespectful to the affected farmers.
This administration does not carry and practice disrespect for citizens in St. Vincent, regardless of your category, regardless of your class, regardless of your political affiliation, your religious. We operate. The mere fact is that circumstances overtook the procedure. First, it was La Soufrière volcano. If the man he got his lease on the 9th of April. That's when it was registered. That's when he got a legal document. 5 months, North Leeward had been under. If we had gone in then and valued, to try and value crops, the farmers would get nothing, because there was nothing to value. Absolutely nothing to value. When it eased up, naturally, the cleaning up and everything took months.
The government MP lambasted persons whom he said were poking fire on the project, including members of the opposition.
In Kingston, poking fire on this. They have, some of them don't even know what Richmond look like, you know. That's why some of them can write and say, well, we can't have beach fete and thing down there anymore, and we just go down there and cook with goat and so. They don't know one fly. If you tell them find the road to go down there, I see some of them go down there last week, including the leader of the opposition and an entourage, and it looked like the first time they know that man does roast corn on the side of the road. Okay, they're promoting the roast corn as if it is special. First time they see it. I mean, you could imagine fellas coming from town to go down to see a quarry, and was surprised that men was roasting corn on the side of the road.
On the issue of an environmental impact assessment, EIA, Francis noted that one was done at Richmond in 2008, which he said was made known to many in the community. He noted that some persons who have an issue with the EIA were also involved in the assessment.
Mr. Cool was actually party to the environmental impact assessment. I think he participated within the consultant who was doing it at that time with Larakai, Monrond, and Walibu riverbeds in getting the data and information for the firm. The firm was, do I have it? Yes, I have it here. Institute for Environmental Research and Technology, INERT. I believe that is Dr. Murray, and he had done that. So that document, the environmental impact assessment, was in the possession of the government.
Francis said that the St. Lucian Quarry Company, Reno, was asked to do a follow-up assessment, which was done. Hence, the approval for the project was granted by the government.
The quarry site was approved. When Reno comes in now, Reno had to revisit this along with the technical persons and prepare for planning purposes and approval purposes what is called I think I have them here, an environmental management plan and a quarry operations plan. And this is the Reno Group of Companies, EMP, Environmental Management Plan for quarrying and crushing operation at Richmond, to support as part of the existing environmental impact assessment. We didn't have them do over an environmental impact assessment in general because this is already established. The property is the government, approved by physical planning as a quarry site and an environmental impact assessment setup.
Francis said the EIA report will be made available to the public, including journalists.
They identified in it is a document containing 43 pages. So there are copies. And when I mentioned just about the investigative journalism, you see, sometimes we don't research. These documents are now public documents. I gave the number for the lease and the arrangement and the agreement with the government, 889 and 890 of 2021. They're registered in the registry. The approval, all the documents were lodged with the Physical Planning Development Board. I will make available to the government, other offices, the media here of government, copies of each of the document, and Sion as press secretary, and you can make arrangements with them to be able to see them. But I'm not going to go through the details on those.
Civil society organizations in St. Vincent and the Grenadines will have the opportunity to implement projects and programs that will solve ongoing environmental and sustainable livelihood challenges. This will be done through the SVG Conservation Fund. Project Officer Alanda Moses told SVG-TV News that applicants are expected to go through a training program, and upon completion, they will be qualified for a SVG-CF small grant.
Around specific issues, whether it's human rights, sustainable development, environmental protection, whatever, anything around that area. But some examples are like churches and faith-based organizations, youth groups, special groups. So these are some of the entities that would be eligible for a grant for the training that we are giving. Under this grant, what you will do, you will apply to participate in our capacity building activity, which would be training CSOs how to effectively conceptualize and implement and manage projects that will cater to our evolving environmental and sustainable livelihood challenges. And after the training, they would be eligible to receive a grant funding of minimum $5,000 but maximum $15,000 US.
Moses said after the volcanic eruption, they have provided financial assistance to a number of organizations under the Volcanic Recovery Grant, amounting to 534,000 EC dollars.
City conservation period from our first call for proposal to the volcano recovery grant. The Fisheries Department would have received over $3,500 for their project, while National Parks over $75,000, and the Forestry Division, they are still in the initial conceptualization of their project. So all in all, over $100,000 for sure would go towards the volcano recovery grant.
Project coordinator said since the establishment of the SVG Conservation Fund in 2019, they have been doing their part to protect and preserve SVG's biodiversity and environment.
On specific issues, whether it's human rights, sustainable development, environmental protection, whatever, anything around that area. But some examples are like churches and faith-based organizations, youth groups, fisher groups. So these are some of the entities that would be eligible for a grant for the training that we are giving. Under this grant, what you will do, you will apply to participate in our capacity building activity, which would be training CSOs how to effectively conceptualize and implement and manage projects that will cater to our evolving environmental and sustainable livelihood challenges. And after the training, they would be eligible to receive a grant funding of minimum $5,000 but maximum $15,000.
The main bridge in Chateaubele has been completely restored. MP for North Leeward, Carlos James, said that even though the work was delayed for some time due to a buildup of ash after the volcanic eruption of April last year, he is proud of the work that has been done and looks forward to other bridges in the area being completed.
We're here on the Chateaubele Bridge. We started construction of this bridge some time ago, pre-eruption of the Lasso-Fray. We had some delays because we had to obviously clear from the ash and all of that, and I'm quite happy with the work that the contractor put in here. In fact, in this tongue itself, we have done at least 3 or 4 bridges, and we have another one to complete in Goulin, and also in Richmond, end of fit use going into Richmond, we have another bridge to construct. And of course in Kakata and in Fitzhughes we have done some work there. But this is all part of the rehabilitation work, and then it's really the community coming together and then working in the interest of North Leeward, and I'm quite pleased with the work and here.
Residents of the community also expressed their gratitude to the government on the completion of the bridge, noting that the bypass road was an inconvenience to all.
Right now, how everybody feel happy, how you know, go right wrong, and especially when you go wrong plan, you come like you're going to get some problem because sorted area be quite narrow, and you know, you may make a problem and things like that.
It's been very difficult for us because, as you know, transportation through Plan Road is very long and difficult. Sometimes it causes accidents, and a lot of drivers used to be more frustrated taking that long route. Or even in shops where a lot of people criticize. And seeing that this transportation is here, it's very easy and accessible for drivers to come in and out of North.
The traffic department of the RSVG police force will continue to make the nation's roads safe by enforcing the laws. This is according to second in command of the traffic department, Assistant Superintendent of Police Parnell Brown, as he outlined to SVG-TV News the plans of the department for this year.
To educate the general public, and we have a mandate to educate the out-district in this vein in order to make St. Vincent and Grenadines, the road of St. Vincent and Grenadines, safer. Because without the education, I don't think we are going to reduce and to make the road safer. So we are going to continue to educate the persons via the traffic talk programs, the Facebook page, and we will we'll have discussions in schools to sensitize the children as to how to use the pedestrian crossing in the event that a police officer is not present. Because we have a lot of problems of concern when it comes to this aspect.
ASP Brown noted that this year started out with a few accidents and a road fatality and encouraged motorists and pedestrians to be careful on the roads at all times.
In moderation, be very cautious and courteous to other persons. I am mostly appealing to the young drivers who believe to themselves that they have a mandate to impress other persons. No driver of any motor vehicle have any duty to impress anyone. Your duty is to move from point A to point B safe. That is only your duty. Drive your vehicle in a manner that will be reflective of a reasonable and prudent driver. So I am appealing to the persons who believes to themselves that they have a point to prove to other persons, their peers. You have no point to prove. You have proven a point already that you are a competent driver. Stay competent, stay courteous and cautious. Use our roads for yourself and other persons in mind.
ASP Brown is also reminding omnibus operators that the Ministry of Health's regulations have not changed in terms of the number of passengers they are allowed to carry, and encourage them to adhere to this and other protocols.
Advising persons that the protocol established by the Ministry of Health have not changed. Therefore, I am advising you to be safe. Adhere to the protocol established by the Ministry of Health. Avoid getting stopped and ticketed by the police. Avoid getting tickets that are easily avoidable.
Maurice Butler has been appointed Dean of the Division of Teacher Education, DTE, at the SVG Community College effective January 2022. Butler has over 30 years' experience as an educator, 12 of which has been spent at the SVG Community College. A current PhD candidate, she possesses a Bachelor of Arts in English Language, Bachelor of Education, Intermediate Education, and a Master's of Education in Literacy. Butler has been instrumental in the creation of several national standardized language tests, including being a developer of the Common Entrance English Test. Ms. Butler also serves as a course coordinator for the FOUN 1001 English for Academic Purposes at the University of the West Indies. Her extensive resume also includes previous appointments as curriculum officer in the Department of Language Literacy and Communication of the Ministry of Education, as well as being a teacher at the Mountain View Adventist Academy, North Union Secondary School, Georgetown Secondary, and the St. Vincent Grammar School, where she also served as literacy coordinator. In her new capacity, Butler intends to pilot the growth and expansion of the Division of Teacher Education.